We are going to continue our theme about the X-Men. I had so much fun talking about the X-Men last time. The X-Men, one of my favorite comic series. They have superpowers. They have a great message, which we talked about in the last video. Today's focus is just on the special powers that each of the X-Men characters have. So we're going to talk about what each one has as their power and what they have as their weakness. Now, the number one X-Men, this is the leader of the X-Men. His name is Professor X, also known as Charles Xavier. He's the leader of the X-Men. He has a very cool power. He could read people's minds and he could talk to them without using words. Imagine you can talk to your friends without having to speak, or you could read people's minds. Professor Xavier does have one weakness, and that is that he cannot walk. He has to use a wheelchair to move around. He has the power of his mind, but he doesn't have the power of his body like some of his students have. Next up is Wolverine. Wolverine is probably the most famous of the X-Men. He has many comic books and movies just dedicated to his character. Wolverine is a mutant. He has super healing powers, and he has these claws that are hidden within his hands that come out when he's angry or when he's getting ready to battle an enemy. Now, a little bit more of this story, that some scientists did an experiment on Wolverine where they laced his already strong bones with a made-up element called adamantium. So this adamantium makes his bones and his joints very strong. They also replaced his bone claws with metal claws. So now his claws are made out of adamantium. Wolverine has the power of healing very quickly whenever he gets injured. He's very durable. Durable meaning that if he gets hit or if he gets hurt, he doesn't break very easily. And obviously he has these super strong, super sharp claws that make him a very strong opponent to any of his enemies. Wolverine's weakness is that he has a bad temper. He has a bit of a struggle trying to control this temper so that he can be the best X-Men that he can be. Now we have Storm. She has the power to control the weather. She can control lightning. She can bring thunder, typhoons, hurricanes. She can even use the wind to make herself fly. Storm is a very powerful X-Men, but she does have one fear. Her fear is being trapped in tight spaces. This is also called claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is a fear of being in small spaces. Cyclops is the next hero that we have in the X-Men. Cyclops is kind of one of the leaders. He's not as high up a leader as Professor Xavier, but a lot of the X-Men look to him for advice and leadership. Cyclops has the power of shooting energy blasts out of his eyes. This is something that, like most X-Men, a power that came about during puberty. These blasts are very powerful, but Cyclops cannot fully control these blasts. Cyclops needs to wear special glasses because without the glasses, just by opening his eyes, he might shoot these blasts out and hurt other people, hurt his friends, or destroy things around him. Cyclops uses this tool to help him keep his power under control. Jean Grey. Jean Grey is a very powerful individual on the X-Men team. Like Charles Xavier, she has the power of telekinesis. Telekinesis is the power to move things with your mind. So Jean Grey can move heavy objects such as cars or giant rocks just by looking at them and thinking of them. She also has these intrusive thoughts. Something that is intrusive means it's hard to control or stop. Sometimes she has thoughts, or she could read other people's minds, or she has visions of things that are happening around her, and it can be too much for her to handle. So even though she has the power to control things with her mind, sometimes this ability to know things gets overwhelming for her. Overwhelming just means it gets too much for her to handle. Now, Gambit is another character. He has special powers, but his personality is also very charismatic. He has the ability to make people really like him, and he's what you would call a very smooth talker. Now, Gambit's special power is he's able to charge objects with energy and cause them to explode or release that energy. Gambit often walks around with a pack of playing cards. The reason why is because playing cards are small and they're easy to throw around. Once Gambit throws one of these playing cards, once they hit their destination or once they hit their target, they explode. Gambit, possibly because of his background, has a hard time trusting people, and sometimes people have a hard time trusting him. Beast is one of the main X-Men. He's also known as Professor McCoy. Despite his look as this beastly monster, he's a very smart individual. He loves to read. He's a scientist. He spends a lot of his time in the lab reading, doing experiments. He is able to climb very well. He has a lot of strength and agility. Beast's weakness, though, is that he feels very self-conscious about his appearance. Beast has a very obvious look to him that causes people to be afraid of him when they see him. He doesn't always feel comfortable with the way that people view him. Rogue is another one of the main X-Men. Rogue has the power to take somebody's abilities or power just by touching them. For example, in one episode, one of the doctors did not want to work on one of the X-Men, and Rogue, just by touching the doctor, was able to take all of his knowledge. However, there's a downside to it. Once Rogue touches somebody, it drains them of their energy and temporarily makes them very weak, to the point where they may even just fall down. She feels lonely at times that she can never actually physically touch another person without causing harm to them. What Rogue teaches the readers is that even though she has special powers, this power can also lead to her feeling lonely. Now let's look at some of the villains in the X-Men universe. Mystique is kind of a villain. I would say in the X-Men, the mutant villains are not clear. Sometimes they have good days, sometimes they have bad days. Overall, Mystique would be a villain, especially in the movies. Now, Mystique, who appears blue, usually, she has the power to change into any shape she wants. She can impersonate another person, completely changing her shape so that you would not be able to know this person that you're talking to is not who you think they're talking to, but it is actually Mystique, who is a shapeshifter. Mystique's weakness, I would say, is that she is a little bit of a loner and she has a hard time trusting anybody. Juggernaut. Juggernaut is a big, strong character. He has the ability that once he starts moving, it's pretty much impossible to stop him. He could run through walls, he could run through pretty much anything. Once he starts moving, he is unstoppable. However, his weakness is that once he does start moving, he can cause a lot of destruction unintentionally. Last but not least is my favorite of the characters in X-Men. He is a complicated character. He is a villain, but he has a very strong influence over the whole X-Men universe, and that is Magneto. He is a complicated character. Now, Magneto has the power to control metal through magnetism. This means that everything that contains any piece of metal is under his control. This includes buildings, this includes cars, this includes the core of the earth, this includes the blood that runs through our veins, which has iron in it. Magneto can feel it, he can feel it in his mind, and he can control it. His weakness is that if he does get confined by objects that don't contain metal, like plastic objects or glass or something like that, he cannot control them. Another one of his weaknesses is he is angry. He is very resentful towards the humans for their treatment of the mutants. Now, many people believe that Magneto is right for his resentment towards the humans, and it does make sense. However, Magneto's final idea would be to have war with the humans, which I believe would lead to a lot of humans as well as a lot of mutants getting hurt. So, like I said, Magneto is a very complicated character. He's my favorite character on the X-Men. I don't agree with all his ideas, but I just like that he's there, and I like that he brings something that you really have to think about when you watch or when you read the X-Men comics. So the X-Men, they're heroes. They all have something that makes them special or makes them different. They remind us that these differences are our strengths, and that we can also always work on ourselves to make our strengths stronger, and we can work on our weaknesses. Quiz time! Now that we've learned a little bit about the X-Men, let's see if you were paying attention, and here's a little quiz that I have for you guys. Number 1, what's Professor X's special power? He can fly, he can read minds, he can turn invisible. 2, what does Wolverine use to fight? Lasers, sharp claws, fire. 3, which X-Men member can control the weather? Storm, Gambit, Beast. 4, what does Cyclops have to wear to control his power? A hat, gloves, special glasses. 5, who can move things with her mind? Jean Grey, Mystique, Rogue. 6, what does Gambit usually throw to make things explode? Playing cards, rocks, fireworks. 7, who is big, blue, and super smart? Magneto, Beast, Cyclops. 8, which of the characters in X-Men can change to look like whatever they want? Rogue, Jean Grey, Mystique. 9, what happens when Rogue touches someone? She can borrow their powers. She turns invisible. She starts to fly. 10, who has the power to control metal? Magneto, Gambit, Juggernaut. Hopefully this quiz will help you remember some of the lessons. I want you to remember a lot of these words. Thank you for joining me. Peace.